So I want you to know that I spent a lot of time this week in Starbucks. Not that I don't spend time, but more than usual. And at Starbucks, consuming more than usual my share of large-sized dark coffee at Starbucks to prepare for today's sermon. Now, today's text is like one of those passages in the Bible and stories in the Bible that is kind of a head scratcher. You shake your head and you scratch your head. Just sometimes you pull out your hair and trying to get at the point. What's the meaning or why is it here? A very kind of puzzling text. It's quite puzzling text. I mean, it seems like it's out of place. It's like it shouldn't be here. The whole story shouldn't even be reported here. So, for the first few days, it is my initial intellectual reaction to the whole thing was just limited to just two words, like what and why. Why the killings of those two good church people? And it's done by none other than Apostle Peter, the rock and the father of the early church. What did they do so wrong that warrant their death? Just because they kept little for themselves? Right? So what's happening here? So Ananias and Saphira, they sold their property. And they kept little for themselves and then gave most of their proceeds to the church. And they did this for voluntarily. They didn't have to do this. The money was theirs, the property was theirs. And they could do whatever they wanted to do, but they wanted to help out the church. They wanted to help out those people who are in need, and they voluntarily did this. They did this in good faith. They were generous people, they were good people, but for their generosity, Peter zapped them, and for their good intention, their unceremonious death is recorded in the Bible for people in every generation of Christians to remember for the last 2,000 years as a bad example. What's going on here? What is going on here? Just because they kept little for themselves? It's too harsh, don't you think? It's kind of too harsh. Now, if I were Peter, I wouldn't do that. Why did Peter kill them? Why did Peter zap them both? Maybe Peter was getting too much stress, a lot of work, and maybe he just snapped, just snapped. Or maybe he was trying to test his power. Remember, the last Sunday I talked about Peter having power to heal this man from bone cripple. And when Peter said, get up and walk, he actually got up and walked, and everybody was like, wow, what's going on? They couldn't believe, and Peter couldn't believe, probably couldn't believe himself. I didn't know that I have that much power. Maybe I can just test it again, whether really I have power or not. And zap, it works. Well, one more time, and zap, it really works. I gotta be careful next time. No more testing. Right? Sorry guys, in the wrong place, and wrong time. Right? Testing out his power, maybe? I don't know. Why? Just because they kept little for themselves? Right? Too harsh. Too harsh. If I were Peter, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would probably praise them. I would probably reward them. I'll probably promote them. I'd probably recognize them and let everybody know that look at these people. I mean, let's just imagine if any one of you have sold your property, right? Any one of you sold your property and just kept a little for yourself and gave most of them to church. Richard, this is like, I sold this because I understand the church is going through a real difficult time right now, so I just wanted to help out the church, so I give you all of this. I'll keep a little bit for myself because we need a little bit of money for retirement, right? So if that's, if any of you have done that, I would say, are you crazy? I would say, I would just praise you, I would just celebrate, I would be your best friend. I would just go there and you would call me anytime, day or night, and I'll be there. I'll be there. I wouldn't have done that. Just because you kept a little bit for yourself. Why did Peter kill them both? You think they were the only ones who kept little for themselves? I don't think. You think they were the only one that the Spirit found out about it and then they lied to the Spirit and then keeping for not giving them all? I don't think. You think they were the only ones that Peter would just, point it out? You think also that Peter would just go around place to place and house to house and plucking out those people who were just low on their monthly offering? Hey, you're low on your monthly offering, like just zap you? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that was going to happen. So why? Why did Peter kill them both? What's the whole purpose of this? Why did he do that? I don't get it. Do you get it? Scratch my head. I don't get it. Now you have to understand that right after this event, what was happening, there was a great fear spread among many people. Those people who were inside the church and those people who were outside the church as well. There was great fear. Those people who were actually going to follow, people already in the church, already were outside the church, they were about to give something to the church. They probably thought twice about giving to church at all. They probably said, well, what's happening? I don't want to get zapped like that. They probably wouldn't give at all. They probably actually left the church altogether. And those people who were going to join the church community, they probably thought, well, what's going on? I'm not going to be part of this community at all. What's going on here? Forget that. They probably would not come to church, join the church at all. What this event did was it was a bad publicity. Out of all the possibility, what this event did was a hard stop on this amazing growth of early church of Jesus Christ. Now, in order to understand, we need to actually look at the story within the whole context. What's happening here? It's early church. Amazing things were done. There were miracles by apostles. There were healings. There were a lot of people wanting to join the church. Not only several months away from when Jesus ascended. Not only a few months later, and there were like thousands of people would join the church. They wanted to be part of this Jesus movement. They were like becoming a mega church within a few months. And there were people meeting in the temple to worship and to pray and to listening to apostles' teachings of Jesus. And the people sharing their food and their property. Everything was like communal living. And they were becoming big, like a mega church. Thousands of people were coming to join this community. And so big that apostles appointed several leaders to administer, to manage so many people. It's becoming a mega church. Everybody in Israel began to understand, began to notice about this. People knew what was happening, and there were many people wanting to be part of this Jesus community. They wanted to join this Jesus community. I mean, think about it. People from outside, they were like, wow, we heard about this movement. Hey, did you hear about this community? They give you free food, they give you free shelter, they give you free healing. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Maybe let's just join over there. Maybe they have some nice looking girls as well. Let's all join together, right? So it's becoming huge. It's becoming big. And then all of a sudden, this event dampens the spirit of people. All of a sudden, we begin to see the true color of the followers of Jesus Christ. The true color of the followers of Jesus Christ began to emerge. What this event did to those people who wanted to be followers of Jesus Christ, those people who want to belong to that community, is saying one thing. If you want to follow Jesus Christ, if you want to belong to this community, you have to commit all. Just giving a portion would not do that. You have to commit all. You have to submit all. You have to risk all. Just giving a little portion of it would not do that, because later on, your faith, very soon your faith will be tested. Very soon your commitment will be challenged. You will be called upon to testify. And you will be called upon to die in the name of Jesus Christ. And giving just a little portion of it, if you're not ready right now, think twice about joining this community, think twice about following Jesus Christ, because you will be tested very soon. And it will be most horrible, most terrible for you to deny Jesus. Think twice about joining this. Peter knew about this because he thought he was a true follower of Jesus Christ. For 3 years, he followed Jesus right beside. He was considered to be like the first, number one apostle, disciple of Jesus Christ. He thought he was a true disciple of Jesus Christ. For 3 years, he said, Lord Jesus, I will never deny you. And then when Jesus was on the cross, when people approached Peter, he denied Jesus not only once, but 3 times. And he cried and cried because that was the most horrible thing that he has ever done in his life. To sell Jesus in order to save his own skin. And he knew the guilt, he was living in a guilt and shame, and it hurt him. Most terrible thing. And then when Jesus, the risen Christ, appeared before him and asked him, Peter, do you love me? Peter, do you truly love me? Peter, do you love me till death? It hurt him when Jesus asked him that question because it reminded him of his denial. It hurt him. And he responded, Lord, you know I love you. Lord, I love you truly. Lord, I would never deny you. There was a guilt and shame, and it's living in hell. And he didn't want any of his people to go through the same experience. And the other thing about the whole context, what was happening after this event, a few days later, great persecution began to break out against Christians. Death, imprisonment, torture began. And this persecution lasted for 300 years. You think how committed people would withstand? It's much more than just being harsh on this. It's a way of Peter to preparing the disciples of Jesus Christ, preparing for what to become. In order to become true disciples of Jesus Christ, unless you are fully committed, you will get hurt badly. What does it mean to be true followers of Jesus Christ? It means simply you commit all, you surrender all, you submit all, you risk all. Nothing matters but Jesus. Nothing is more important but Jesus. You follow Jesus without hesitation, without reservation, without any illusion. The only Jesus, God's gospel. The cause of gospel is the only thing that really matters. Followers of Jesus means what it says, the following Jesus. Every step of the way that Jesus went through. And what did Jesus do? He offered all he had, all he ever was. He risked all, he committed all. He gave all. And he expects, he desires his followers to commit all. To commit all our hearts. To submit all our will. To offer all our lives for the cause of gospel. And I call this kind of living a life of grand passion. Living a life of grand passion, committing all. There was the chicken and the pig were walking one day in front of the church. And they were discussing about the problems of world hunger. And the chicken suggested that between her species and the pig species, they could solve the world hunger by providing every morning the great breakfast of bacon and eggs. And then pig thought long and hard before replying, "It's okay for you to say this because from you it's only a contribution, from me it's a total commitment." Bacon and eggs. total commitment. So we're meeting next Sunday after church service to talk about and adopt and to decide about our new mission and vision. Not new mission. Mission has always been the same. It's about loving God and loving our neighbors. That's our mission. We don't have to have a new one. It's why we exist, right? But vision, we said in our vision statement, and for what the church has worked on for the last many years, is that the spirits of wind are pushing us to a new direction. We haven't figured that new direction yet. So that's what we've been working on for the last several months, what that new direction is. Where's the spirit of wind are pushing us, and Jesus will guide us along the way. So that new direction that we will talk about next Sunday, and there are about 20 people. We showed up last Thursday, and we worked about more than 2 hours to come out to find that. I mean, there were a lot of discussion, a lot of smaller table groups, and at the end, everybody there's a consensus among us, and to giving this a new vision statement and a tagline to board to adopt and approve, and then bring it to the congregation for your approval. And we will meet them next Sunday. Now, the vision is our way of saying to the world that this is how we follow Jesus. We don't have to have a vision. I mean, if we want to be just good church people, we want to just content with what we have. Because a vision is a dangerous thing. It's dangerous. It's because once you have a clarity of vision, there's changes. And then change is hard because a lot of pain, right? Changes means pain. But as you know, no pain, no gain, no change, right? So we gotta be careful. If we really want to adopt vision, it's dangerous. But it's our way of saying, this is from God, and we have worked on this for many years and finalized this now. And we want to be on the next level of living a life of grand passion. It's our way of saying how we love God and how we love our neighbors. That's what our vision is really all about. It's a tangible way of doing that. And once we have that, once we approve, once we covenant ourselves a vision, we need to commit ourselves. We need to submit. We need to offer all of our hearts and our wills and our lives. And that's what God has called this church, the Knox, to be on the next level of life, living the life of grand passion. I encourage you. You've been working with church, you've been committed servants for many, many years. Now we are on the next level of commitment, but also next level of living a grand passion. It's exciting time, folks. It's exciting time. So let us pray about this. Let us bring our hearts and our wills and our lives together to see that God's mission will be possible through this church in our neighborhoods.